What's poppin', y'all? Looks like I was right when it came to the majority of these rappers. And we just witnessed one of the lowlights of Playboi Carti's career, interestingly enough. And I don't know who was around him to let him rock out like this, but sheesh, it's not looking good. So pretty much the short end of it is Aiden Ross paid, or someone on Aiden Ross's team / Kick had paid Playboi Carti to pretty much show up on stream. They were saying, oh, it was 2 million and something else. I don't know. Like, these numbers that Kick throws out, part of it is just to get talk around the numbers. So it could have been significantly less. But Aiden Ross, he's been a fan of Playboi Carti. I don't really know why people are diehard Carti fans. I don't know. It's maybe something I'll never be able to fully grasp. So he says he was talking, he was hyping up a guest. He was talking to Playboi Carti for a couple of days. Playboi Carti agreed to come on stream. He had a plan, all this. So Playboi Carti shows up late, as per usual. Rapper time, 2+ hours late. No respect for anybody else. Shows up. They're playing his music. And then he gets on. He's like dancing around to his music in some weirdo mask that he's got on in all black. Like daps up Aiden Ross. Aiden Ross is kind of just like awkwardly, like waiting for it to be over. He's probably like, okay, like when are we going to start the plan that he had? He picks up a bag of cash and he walks off. The entire stream was like 6 minutes. If you include the time that he was dancing to his music, it's probably around 10 minutes. And then, an argument ensues. It's off camera. I don't know if Aiden leaked the footage or whatever. But this whole thing is, a lot of people are like, yo, what did he expect? No, they're completely right. Number one is, if you're paying $2 million for Playboi Carti, $2 million, I'm pretty sure $2 million can get you Bad Bunny. And this is crazy to me because this can't be karma. Aiden Ross had the chance to get Ye on there, Kanye West himself. And he decided to say no because the higher-ups gave him a call. Yeah, I get it. It'd be like that sometimes. Not for me, because we're small fry around here, and, we're trying to stay that way. I felt bad for Aiden Ross. I don't feel bad for Carti fans because, they're used to this right now. I just think this was the dumbest thing that Playboi Carti could have ever done, and it really made him look lame and corny. Because look at it like this, right? If he didn't show up, I think that would have been great. Like, he just sat there waiting, right? Nobody got paid. So Aiden would probably be upset, but I think he'd understand it. The fans would be upset, but they'd be like, yeah, it's Carti. He just does this. But to show up there, pretty much scam, not even show your actual face, and then dip out and try to get all the money. Like, you just went, it's like a Payday the Heist game, and he's dressed, and his crew is dressed like it's Payday the Heist. It's unbelievable, and it's lame, because, and this is what I say, I don't get why people think like Carti, a lot of these artists that are super mysterious, it's because they have nothing to say. It's because the more you know about them, the less you'll like them. And Playboi Carti is kind of one of those people. He's always had people that engineered his career properly and were kind of doing the speaking and the organizing a lot of events that made him more and more lit. But the whole scene is just weird. Number one, there's some tall white dude that has his whole head shaved. We don't know who the hell that is. There's the photographer, which Gunnar Stahl. I don't even know what that guy's been up to the past 5 years, but I didn't know he was a part of Carti's entourage. I know they've been friends for 7+ years, but yeah. And then you've got this elder woman who I'm guessing is his manager that's dressed she looks like she's got to be in her 40s, 50s, and she's dressed like that, and they're kind of mobbing around like some Kingdom Hearts characters. It's like, what are you even doing? And then to not show up, and then to not even hop on the stream. It's like, yo, we know you're normal. This is not okay, the jig's over. The jig is up. Everybody saw, no, not to mention there were old interviews, but everybody saw you when you were like, yo, I'm trying to get to my baby mama. She's landing at the airport, all of that. People know you can act normal. You're not some weird pariah. And I don't know who told him that this was going to be a good idea. Either don't show up on the stream, or give something light, some sort of content. You don't got to act like everybody else. But this is what happens. And a lot of these guys don't have respect for streamers, which I don't understand why they have respect for the artists. A lot of these streamers, they have a strong enough audience that they can flip the narrative. If Aiden Ross, let's just say they form a coalition, right? Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, a couple of other streamers, and they say, hey, we don't mess with Carti anymore, and when we listen to his new album, we're gonna call it trash. Does Playboi Carti or any of these other artists realize that everyone will start calling it trash? All of these kids are listening to these guys. They kind of look up to them. They feel similar to them. If they say it's garbage, they're gonna interpret it as garbage, and then the garbage narrative is gonna start spreading and spinning everywhere, and then after it spreads everywhere, now you're seen as you just dropped a trash album. And it's very easy to like say Playboi Carti's music is trash because people either hate it or love it. I don't think they respect streamers yet, but this is the problem with anybody that kind of does content. This is how it goes. If someone is one of the people that gets big guests, like they're doing rap, they're getting interviews with rappers, they're getting interviews with, I wouldn't say they're managers. Yeah, let's say they're getting cool interviews, right? With people that the others, in terms of other people, I mean fans, want to see interviewed. They're doing one of two things. Number one, they work at a company with these strong connections. So like, let's say Complex, maybe Apple Music, something like that, which therefore it's understandable. But if they work for one of these companies, they can't really ask the good questions. So they're going to give you these cookie cutter interviews that you're just like, okay, well, I didn't really get anything out of that. If they don't work for these companies, they basically have to kind of like deride, get disrespected. They've probably been flaked on several times, and they can never give their actual genuine opinions on music or anybody in the game, because then that's going to harm their relationship making, because they don't have the company or the corporation that's going to make relationships for them. So that just leaves one party, which is kind of like the party that I fall into. I would say Joe Budden too, where you just don't give a damn. You never had any interest in meeting any rappers. You don't really think the majority of rappers are even cool. And, you know, if some of them mess with you, they mess with you off the strength, and they respect your opinion, and they see you as a peer, and they either want your opinion on things, or if they're doing an interview with you, it's because of like, it's out of the love, and they respect you because they know and kind of like look forward to the fact that you're going to be honest with them, because most people aren't. I would say Academics kind of, I don't know where he falls, but he's kind of someone that is just so big that they have to go to him, even if he like called them trash before or may call them trash afterwards. Although he does kind of seem to give more benefit of the doubt to people that have like treated him well, like famous rappers. So those are pretty much the categories. And once you're relegated to a certain category, you kind of can't get out of it. But the problem is the fans want the category of the people that are going to be straight up honest about their opinion. They don't want the cookie cutter stuff. They're like, yo, keep it a buck with us. But those same fans also want that same person that keeps it a buck all the time to be interviewing and interacting with the rappers that they like, because that's going to give them the best content. But I'm here to tell you guys that's rarely ever going to happen anymore. Charlemagne was the ideal for that, but that's because he had a major corporation that was pretty much putting these interviews together for him. And now he's also so big he can do that, but he's also changed a lot. So that's kind of just breaking down the dynamics of that, of like the whole like interview game, content collaboration, whatever. Or you could pay somebody, but it's like, what kind of interviewer is going to pay an artist to interview them? It would have to be like an Aiden Ross situation, which is pretty much for a stream. But I think Aiden Ross looked great in this. In terms of the fans, Playboi Carti clearly has no respect for his fans, which is it any surprise that he did this to anybody? I mean, the dude was arrested for beating his pregnant girlfriend, side piece, who knows what it is. Iggy Azalea said whatever it is about him, like him kind of like being a neglectful kid, him coming in for photo shoots with his son, which isn't really any of our business. I've said this before. I don't really care. I mean, if the dude drops music, it's music. That's what I look at it as. I never had any like sort of admiration for pretty much him or the majority of other artists. Probably like 2 artists I can say that. I'd say maybe like a couple. Like there are certain people I respect for their craft, but there are others that I respect on multiple different fields. Lupe Fiasco, I would say, is probably one of them. But even with him, you know, there's certain things I'm like, damn, that's unfortunate. But I would say like that's an outstanding individual in multiple different verticals, including, but not limited to, being decent to other people, which Playboi Carti seems to have a really difficult problem with. And I don't know if this is something that he can recover from. I think the sour taste will always be there, but Playboi Carti fans, all he's got to do is just drop music for them, really. And if they enjoy it, then they're going to forget about all this. Like, nobody's going to stop going to his shows. Nobody's going to stop listening to his music. I will say, though, that this does help out Uzi, because now everybody's looking at it like, I do think it puts a sour taste in people's mouth musically, because the majority of people that listen to his music thought he was like a cool guy before. So this taints it. If you're just listening to it off rip, like, hey, this is a product, I'm consuming said product, the way I kind of try to look at things, it wouldn't bother you at all. But this helps Uzi, because everyone's looking at it like, yo, Uzi's actually really cool. He's actually really genuine with people. He's always showing love to people. Nobody's ever said like they've had a bad interaction with him. And especially with the Aiden Ross thing, like he showed love to Aiden Ross, and he kind of set boundaries too. Like when Aiden Ross was, I think he was trying to call him by his first name, like Samir, he was like, yo, don't do that. You know, he stood up for himself. And that's a perfect example of somebody that was like showing love, giving him content, But at the same time, when he's taking it too far, he's like, yo, chill, like, you can't be playing with me like that. I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z. But yeah, man, the whole thing was such a misstep. And it just goes to show that Playboi Carti is not as brilliant as you guys think. This guy does not have the plan laid out. He must have gotten his head like blown up so much that he thought like, hey, I can just do anything and my fans are going to be like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like, shout out to Carti for doing that. And that's not the case. So somebody's out of touch on his team, or he just decided to do this on his own. Regardless, it's scummy, but hey, this is a genre where being scummy kind of doesn't really matter. I mean, imagine, this is the thing that where people say like, oh, hip hop gets a lot of flack, like they get a lot of hate. Yo, if this was a pop artist that did this, do you know how much hate they would be getting in the mainstream? This would be news that is like on CNN. Like, remember when Ariana Grande like just licked a donut and that was the biggest thing ever? Now, granted, that stuff was disgusting. But yo, white artists get a lot of scrutiny, especially pop artists. They get it bad. They'll just do something tiny. So, like 21 Savage pretty much scammed Aiden out of like 350 grand, which yeah, whatever, he got back later. But if he didn't get caught, they were intending on scamming that. And he pretty much, it turns into a meme. Dude, let Justin Bieber do something like that. Yo, the whole media is shredding him. So that's one benefit that rappers have. And this would apply to white rappers too. Or would it? No, I think it still would. It depends on the scenario and who's involved, I would say. You're going to have to look at that before you decide whether it would be bad or good, who's involved, etc. What do they do? Whether people will think it's cool or not. But yeah, this whole situation, I would say it's good for Kick, especially if they didn't pay him the entire $2 million. But a lot of people say, oh, this is still publicity or promotion. I was trying to say those two words at the same time. I kind of do that a little bit. Regardless, circling back to my point. People say, yo, that's so much promotion. You know, Kick ended up winning out of it. I disagree. Sure, they did get a lot of publicity. But they're looking at it like, hey, we paid or we intended on paying $2 million. What would the publicity that we got be if we actually got a Carti stream, right? And he's actually doing an interview, which he hasn't done in who knows how long. That would do way more than him showing up and leaving. So that's what they're judging it by, not nothing to, oh, us getting a bunch of press. It's like how much press they had anticipated versus how much they actually got, which, yeah, that's just the way I look at it. I think it's unfortunate. I think Aiden Ross needs to stop letting these people don't like you. I'm going to keep it a buck. 99% of rappers don't like any streamers. They see them as corny, which is ironic because the majority of what rappers do is corny and lame. They just kind of wear a mask and you don't get to see enough of them to see it come out. A lot of them are incredibly insecure. They just do a decent job at hiding it because they're not in front of the camera too much. But yeah, they don't mess with these streamers. But these streamers, a lot of them, like and still kind of are fanned out over rappers. But I think that's going to change over time. A lot of kids are starting to look up to streamers as the primary, like, cool guys. Whereas rappers, they're just like somebody that they listen to. And I don't know if rappers realize that they're kind of losing the cool and kids looking up to them and wanting to be like them. But that's just what I think. This kind of like went a lot longer than I thought. It's kind of like turned into a little yap session, but not officially, so it won't get that title. It's supposed to be only like 7 or 8 minutes. But I know there's a few of you out here that, you know, enjoy kicking it with me like this. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.